The video is entitled, You Cannot Judge a Book by Its Cover. I'm a living witness to that. It ain't what nobody else told me. It ain't what nobody else said. You see what I'm saying? You can't go around and judge a book by its cover. And I'm going to try to explain in a few seconds in this video why. A lot of people look at people who, I'm going to say older, or maybe they've been on the planet a little bit longer. Just because a person been on the planet longer than some people or whatever, doesn't mean that they are experienced in certain things, just like me. I can use myself for an example. I've been on the planet, I've been living here for 49 years, right? All right. Have I ever went to Germany? No. I can't say that I went to Germany and all these different places like Africa, Kenya, um, north, south, east, and all them places. I can't say that I went to North, South, East Africa, West Africa, and all those different places. I can't say that I've been there. I can't say that I've been to Spain. I can't say I never. I can't say well I've been there and I know what it's like. I can't say that because I haven't been there. You see what I'm saying? But I do know that locations exist. But as far as me saying that I have been there and me calling myself something that I'm whatever, I can't make an assumption because I can say one thing and I can learn something and come to a conclusion and realize that I didn't know anything at all. You see what I'm saying? Um, I don't walk around calling myself this or calling myself a Jew. I don't do that. I just say, well, I live here in America. All I can do, go by is I experience living here in the so-called America, in the so-called white man's world, or whatever you want to call it. You see what I'm saying? And say that, have I experienced like being, to an extent, being discriminated against? Yes, absolutely. Uh, have I experienced living in a certain part of the neighborhood and when you wanting to climb up and you've been not being in ownership of different things and going to the other nation? Yes, I can boldly proclaim that according to the Bible, but I don't sit up here and call myself something or whatever. But all I can say is that when I go to talking to other people, I can relate to certain things or whatever like that. But I don't walk like I don't like walking around boasting myself to be something. It just don't look good to walk around boasting yourself saying you're something. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's called don't sit up and don't try to act like you know everything. You feel me? But anyway, you can't everybody that are old doesn't mean that they are experienced in certain things. Everybody that are old, and that's the main title, doesn't necessarily mean that they have a hair loss. You see what I'm saying? Like me, I'm 49, right? All right. Okay. You look at me. And I'm just using it as an example. By the grace of the Most High, I still have my hair. I can, you know what I'm saying? But you have some people who are probably older, more than likely have loss of hair, and they say it's hereditary. But at the same time, God, I believe God provides um, certain natural resources. You know what I'm saying? That we can break those. It's just like if you can break a habit of stealing, drug habit, or whatever, you can stop a habit of hereditary of losing. I mean, although in the Bible it does say that it talks about men losing their hair and men this and that for the most part and all that kind of stuff. As you get a certain age, you start losing or whatever. But am I saying, look, everybody that is up in age doesn't mean that they have have a hair loss. Doesn't mean that they have loss of hair just because they may be 80, 70, 50, 60, 70, and all that type of stuff. Everybody who may be of a certain age doesn't mean that they have loss of hair. Just like you may find people who are 60, 70 years old, you're like, oh, they ain't got no hair in their head. I can't generalize and make a generalize a statement like that, because if me not never meeting, if I can sit up here all day and say every man that I meet is gonna have a hair loss in their head. No, because I have met a lot of men who is in their 70s who still have a head full of hair. So I can't make a sit here and make a generalize all those people and say that they all of them have a hair loss or something like that. I can't generalize and say all these people have a hair loss, because everybody who is of an age doesn't necessarily mean that they have a loss of hair. You may have people, just because you see people in their 30s and 20s and teens, 20s or whatever, you say, oh, they ain't got no loss of hair. No, because you do have people in their 20s that has loss of hair or whatever. You don't have to necessarily be somebody in their 50s and 60s and all that just to have a, a hair loss. You see what I'm saying? So people think because when you're older, because old doesn't mean you have loss of hair, because you have a lot of older people who it don't affect, it bypasses them. You see what I'm saying? And they die with the hair in their head. Just like I remember years ago when I was in the Adventist church, when I would like go to places like the nursing home and stuff like that, and things of that nature. When I would, well, okay, never mind. I shouldn't. When I like at a nursing home, I went to this nursing home, right? And I see a lot of older people. I know this older gentleman. He was like 95, close to 100. You know what I'm saying? And he had a head full of hair, and I was really amazed at that. You see what I'm saying? So everybody that you say, just because you can't classify people as like, oh, he got a bald spot in his head. Oh, he old. No, you have younger people have it. You have people that you'll be surprised. You see what I'm saying? You don't have to necessarily, just like they say, you don't have to necessarily be old to have a stroke. Strokes come at any ages. You see what I'm saying? It come at any ages. It has no the numbers is not a limit. You see what I'm saying? You don't have to be old just because you hear about somebody having a stroke doesn't mean all the time that they was old. Because you got people in their 20s that have strokes, 30s that have strokes. You see what I'm saying? You got people in their early 40s that can break out in a stroke. You got people who are uh, can be teenagers that can have a stroke. Even a child can have a stroke. So when people think of strokes and stuff, they think of somebody that was old, or they think of you as old when stuff like that happens. No, you see what I'm saying? Old and older is another thing. Just because people they get a certain age, they say, well, when I get about 60, I'm gonna put my sneakers away, and I'm not gonna be a cheater, and I'm not gonna be all this here and all of that, this and that and the third, not knowing that just like every older person or every person that is of age cannot give you good advice. You got people that are of age and older than me can give you the worst advice ever. You see what I'm saying? You got people who are 70, 80 years old. You wish the day that you regret that you ever been around them. Because you go around people, some people 70, 80, 50 years old, you'll be like, damn, I feel like I'm talking to some 20 and 30 years, 20 years old. Like, damn, they was in their 50s talking like they was in their 20s. Like, god damn, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? So you can't really just go by a person's age or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They had one brother put it to me like this here. He said his name was Mr. Clark. He said, if Christ don't come into that person's life, they can still be just as bad as that younger person. You see what I'm saying? Because they'll figure that, well, when they get a certain age, they're not as dangerous. No, if the most high the most high don't quicken their spirit, they can be just like anybody. They can be dangerous just like anybody else. You see what I'm saying? So you can't always just put a limited on people when they reach a certain age and say that they're this and that. Okay, I can give you another one. Everybody that is up in age doesn't necessarily mean that they sitting at home in a rocking chair and sitting up there reading a newspaper and they ain't got to work no more and all this kind of stuff. No, you got a lot of young people doing what they do. They'll sit at home and read, like most of us, as so-called black, we sit at home and chill for the most part. You know what I'm saying? You got people, because see, they think when you 50 and 60, they figure you're supposed to have loss of hair. Then they figure you're supposed to be sitting there with a newspaper. You got older people who done retired from work, don't even have no loss of hair in their head, and they still get out every day and go to work and work harder than some of the ones that are in their 20s. Still go out there and be. Some of them even get a retirement. You see what I'm saying? They get a retirement and all of that, and they still on the side go out and get them a job and go to work because they're not used to just sitting at home and doing all those things. Just because you're up in age or you somebody up in age, people think that automatically you're supposed to be this person, just supposed to be sitting around and like reading the newspaper and you old and well, you got to sit down until you get about 90 some years old. You just might as well hang it up because you'll live your life and you ain't in your 20s, you ain't in your 30s no more. You're in your 50s, you're in your 60s now. You got to prepare yourself. Uh, no, that's not how they work. You see what I'm saying? I know one man, he was what? You got some of them started legacy very old. Look at Abraham and Sarah. Look at Abraham and Sarah. Think about Abraham and Sarah. Let me give you the example of Abraham and Sarah. Let me go over here and turn this light off here. I got time to do it because ain't no sense in me rushing trying to do nothing. You know what I'm saying? And then what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna try to see if I can turn my camera up. Because that's what I think that's what I'm gonna try to do to show people what I'm talking about. Because I said I was gonna do that. Let's go to Genesis right quick. Yeah, because see, you can't, this is gonna blend in with what I'm talking about. Because see, this is what people need to stop lying to the people, and we need to get this out of our people's head. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, we got to get that out of our head. That we got to get these lies out of our head. All right, I'm gonna turn this thing around. I got to go to the camera. Let me see here. Let's go up and touch this. Let's turn this. I'm gonna turn this camera. I'm gonna flip it around, right? Okay. I think I did it. Okay, I did it. Okay. Genesis. All right, let me turn this light on over here. I'm gonna give y'all an example and show y'all what I'm talking about. Genesis chapter 18 and verse 1. And the Lord unto appeared unto him and in the plains of memory, and in he sat in the tent door in the hand of the in the heat of the day, right? And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, three men stood by him, and when they saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door and bowed himself toward the ground and said, My Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away, I pray thee, from thy servant. Let a little water, and I pray you, be fetched. Okay, now this is not it right here. All right, let's go down. Let's skip here. It says verse Genesis 18 and verse 6. Let's see if this is it. And Abraham hasted and said unto and Abraham hasted unto the tent unto Sarah and said, Make ready quickly 3 measure of fine flour and knead it, and make cakes upon hearing. And Abraham ran unto ran unto the herd and fetched a fat calf, tender and good, and gave it unto a young man, and he hastened to dress it. Now let's go down. It says, let's go to verse 18. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life, and lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah was old. Look at that. Verse 11. That's Genesis chapter 18 and verse 11. Now Abraham and Sarah was old and well stricken in age, and it increased to be and ceased to be with Sarah after the matter of women. Therefore, verse 12, therefore Sarah laughed within herself. See, the world ain't gonna understand. This is what our people doing today. When they look at you and you tell them you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, you can build this and that, they look at you and say, especially family, oh, you can't do that. You can't. They'll laugh at you and say, what the hell? What the hell is you talking about? It said, therefore Sarah laughed which which within herself, and saying, after I am waxing old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? And the Lord said unto Abraham, wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, shall I of a surety bear a child which am old? Is anything, verse 14 of Genesis 18:14, is anything too hard for the Lord at the time appointed? I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah shall have a son. Then Sarah denied, saying, I laughed not, for she was of she. Oh, hold on. Sarah said, then Sarah denied, saying, I am I laugh. Well, then Sarah denied, saying, I laughed not, for she was afraid. And the Lord, and he said, nay, but thou dost laugh. See, she was trying to deny that she laughed. Now watch this here now. Let's go to Genesis chapter 21 and verse Genesis 21 and verse 1. Let's read this here. And the Lord said, and the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord visited Sarah as he had said unto, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken. Remember, I read that in Genesis 17, right? Genesis 18. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age, at the set time of which God had spake to him. And Abraham called the name of his son that was born unto him whom Sarah bare to him Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old, as God had commanded him. And Abraham was an hundred. Look at that, Abraham. That verse 5 of Genesis 21 verse 5. The Bible says, and Abraham was an hundred years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. And Sarah said, God had made me to laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me. She said, everybody that hear, because why would she say that? Because everybody around you ain't gonna believe or follow God's plan. Because see, when God is dealing with you, everybody not gonna understand you. That's Genesis chapter 18 and verse that where it says, therefore, verse 12, therefore Sarah laughed. within herself, saying, after I am old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also? She was laughing at that. Now let's go to verses 23. Here we go. I'm just getting the context of what I'm reading. Genesis chapter 23, verse 1. And Sarah was an 100 years old. No, excuse me. And Sarah was 107 years old, 27 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. And Sarah died in Kitjet Arbon. The same is Hebron in the land of Canaan. And Abraham came to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. Now it says, and Sarah was 127 old. 100. In other words, she was 127 years old. These were the years of the life of Sarah. So Sarah, Abraham was 100 years old, and Sarah was 99 years old when she had the child. Now let's go to, I think it's Genesis 17. Let's go. I believe Genesis 17 backs it up. Now this is how old Abraham was when God was dealing with him. This is what it says. And when Abram, that his name was Abram before it became Abraham. And when Abram was 90 years old and nine, the Lord appeared unto him and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me and be thou perfect. Okay, that's that. I think what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna turn it around now because I think that'll be it for me reading for right now. Yeah, so I'm gonna turn it. I'm gonna flip the camera back around me. Hold on. All right. Yeah, I did it. All right. Yeah, y'all seen that, huh? It took me about 22 minutes to cover a lot of it. I could have went into a little bit more and covered some more, but there's a reason why these things are written in the Bible the way that they're written. These things are written in the Bible. They're not written here just to be bedtime stories for no reason. Just like I'm sitting here talking to you all and stuff like that, and that's real or whatever. Then real life. When you walk out there, is real out there. You see what I'm saying? You talk to people and stuff. So if that's happening, something simple like that happening, and it's possible for me to get on here and make a video like it's TV or what, this is similar to TV, really. You know what I'm saying? If you can hear my voice, see my images and whatever, that lets you know that anything is possible. You know what I'm saying? Anything, no matter how old or how young how old you are. It doesn't matter how old you are or whatever. It doesn't matter how young you are. You can still be used by the Most High. Or you still can, I mean, anything is possible. You see what I'm saying? Positive now. I say positive, not all that dirty stuff, but I'm talking about good stuff. You see what I'm saying? So never let nobody tell you what you can and cannot do when God told us in His Word. He's telling us that these things, anything is possible with Him, as far as if it's godly. You see what I'm saying? I had to correct the two. If it's godly, yes. You know what I'm saying? So when people walk around and they say it basically covered everything that I was saying in this video before I picked the Bible up. When people go to say, "Oh, you old, you this and that, or you this and you gotta know," everybody that doesn't have everybody does old doesn't mean that they have hair loss. That's what it is. Everybody that are old doesn't mean that they have hair loss. You see what I'm saying? So all of that can tie in together. Like you can even be a young person dealing with that, and somebody can be teasing you saying, when you get older, you're gonna have loss of hair. You're gonna have loss of hair. Oh, no, you're gonna have loss of hair when you get old. You're gonna have loss of hair when you get old. Somebody could have did me like that. But guess what? I'm 49 years old. Guess what? I still got my hair in my head. So what I'm trying, it's not me exalting myself. It's just saying that sometimes you can be wrong. You can predict certain things about people. Somebody can come along and say, "Oh, Clarence, Peter, you wasn't gonna never be nothing. You wasn't gonna never do this here. You wasn't gonna never do this here. You gonna lose your hair. You gonna look old. You gonna do that." And what happened? I'm older. Well, I'm not saying nobody never did that in that area. I'm just saying I experienced punishments in other ways and stuff. People would always tell me, "Well, why you reading them books and why you doing that? You always listening to the books. You always doing that." Then I got a hold to the Bible, and they're like, "Oh Lord, he picking up the Bible too much." But they'll tell you that you'll never be nothing. You see what I'm saying? They'll tell you, "Oh, when you get old, you ain't gonna have no hair in your head." But guess what? I'm a living witness to that. Just because just because you're young and people telling you, "Oh, you ain't gonna have no hair. You're gonna look old when you get old. You're gonna have your hair gonna be out your head and all that kind of stuff." Well, I'm a living witness to that. I'm older, and the Most High still bless me to be able to have my hair in my head. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying that for a reason to say, and people that have hair loss, that doesn't mean that they is less than, or it doesn't mean nothing. People, all this stuff means nothing. I'm just making an example. And just because they do have it, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a possibility that there are remedies and stuff to we can restore ourselves. You see what I'm saying? God has those type of remedies to where we can store ourselves. You know what I'm saying? People say, "Oh, you gonna be beat out. You gonna have knocked out this and knocked out teeth and all that kind of stuff." No, you got some people. I know some people that are in they over 40, about 50 years old and still got all their teeth. By the grace of God, I still got mine. And you know, what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, and so what I'm saying, I'm not trying to compete with nobody now. I'm not sitting up here making fun. I'm just saying we have to stop with all this attacking each other, competing with each other, saying this and that and the third. We got to stop all that. You know what I'm saying? We got to stop it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's stupid at the end of the day. You see what I'm saying? It's really crazy. But all these things come from slavery. All this stuff, all this hereditary, crazy, bad stuff, all this stuff come from slavery. Sitting up here competing against the other person like you bet. No, I don't. I would never think I'm better than my own brother or my sister. Hell no, that's not me. No. Mm-mm. Anything can be restored and anything is possible. So I'm gonna get up out of here and I'm gonna see y'all later. But just because everybody, I'm gonna say it again, everybody that you see that are old doesn't mean that they have hair loss. Everybody that you see with hair loss doesn't necessarily mean that they are unwise. Everybody that you see that are young doesn't necessarily mean that they're stupid and dumb. Just because they may be 15 and 16 years old doesn't mean that they don't have some knowledge and that they can't teach somebody right. Because you have people who are very young, 16, 17, and 18, can teach you right and wrong. You know what I mean? You don't have to necessarily be a older person in age to say, "Oh, he gonna tell me what's right." No, because not everybody that are young can give you bad advice. Not everybody that's 15 and 16, 15 and 16 can give you bad advice. And that's the misconception and the lies that is programmed into our brain, that especially about the blacks, Hispanics, and Natives of American people. You don't have to be old is to receive some advice from somebody younger than you. You see what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that just because you are 16, 17, that I got to rebel against what you're saying. Whatever it is that you're saying, what you're saying, if you're telling me right, I have to humble myself and listen. It has nothing to do with, "Oh, well, you ain't my mother. Look at you. You 16, 17, 18 years old. You can't tell me nothing." No, if that person is telling me right, then God, and I disregard and disrespect that person, that black, Hispanic, or that natives of American person for trying to tell me something right, and I disregard it, then God will put a punishment upon me, just like if I wouldn't have listened to my own parents, older parents. You see what I'm saying? Because see, people look at it like, "Oh, well, he disrespected that older person. He disrespected this older person." No, you can if you take and cuss out a younger person. You see what I'm saying? Which I'm guilty of. I did it. Uh, you cuss out a younger person, and it'll be it's just as bad as doing it to your own people. You know, your own mother or your father. It's just as bad because they was giving you some good advice and you rejected it. So it has nothing to do with age. It has to do with the spirit. That's Job 30, chapter 32. Job chapter 32 and verse 8. It says that, let's get it. Everything that I say, it's best to get it. Job. That's a book, right? I think it's after Psalms. Before Psalms. Yes, before Psalms. Job chapter 32 and verse 8. Do I need to turn this around? Yeah, I turn it around. I'm going to go ahead and just turn it around, man. Hold on. Hold on a minute. All right. Job chapter 32. Job chapter 32, 7. Let's start at 7. I said, days should speak, and multitude of years should teach wisdom. If you've been on the planet long enough, you got either. All right, let's keep going. But there is a spirit. Now, notice that's what I said. The spirit. It's not about the age, but there is a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty gives them understanding. Great men are not always wise, neither do age understand judgment. The Most High says, age don't understand judgment. Great men, verse 9, great men are not always wise, neither do age understand judgment. So it has nothing to do with your age. You see what I'm saying? You could be 15 or 16 years old, and you can teach me knowledge. You can be 15 and 16 and can be a genius. Yeah, so it ain't got nothing to do with your age. You see what I'm saying? Even David, there's a witness in Psalms. Let's go there. Hold on before I hope you all and I hope people enjoy this video, man. Back camera, okay? Yeah. All right, now let's go to the book of um Psalms. Book of Psalms. Psalms chapter 111. Here we go. Psalms 111 and verse 10. Psalm 111 verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praises endures forever. It says, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praises endures forever. So it's not about your age. It is about your experience. It's not the age. Job 32, Job chapter 32 and verse 7. I said, days should speak, and multitude of years should teach wisdom. But there's a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty gives them understanding. The spirit of the Holy Spirit gives you understanding. Great men are not always wise, neither do age understand judgment. Now I figured that I guess that I covered that enough. Age do not just because you're old in age, you can be old in age and can still be a damn fool. Let me say that again. You can be old in age and you still can be a damn fool. Just because you're older doesn't mean you can give me good advice. Just because you're an older person doesn't mean that you have love and care for a person. You don't have to be old to be evil. You can be, I mean, young and be evil. You can get old and still be the same way you were, got to, still with an 18-year-old mind. So it has nothing to do with your age. It's the understanding that you have. You got people who are way older than me, way more genius than me, way more understanding than me, can give you a better understanding of things than me. I'm not the best. Hell, I could sit here and listen to somebody. Just because I'm 49 years old, that doesn't mean that there's, as long as you live, there's always can be ways that you can improve. I'm not gonna sit up here and act like I know everything, because I don't. So let me get up out of here, and I'm gonna see y'all later. I don't know if people will listen to me because I rambled a long time. I didn't intend to go this long, but maybe the Most High. It wasn't my purpose or my will. It was the purpose Most High ordained. It was for me to speak as long as I did. So I'm gonna see y'all later. The video is called "Everything Everybody That Is Old Doesn't Necessarily." What did I say? Everybody that's old doesn't mean they have hair loss. That's the video title. Everybody that is old in age doesn't mean they have hair loss. I'm out.